Today, my guest, Robert E. Person, talks to us about how image affects you as an artist. And we'll listen to his song, Let My People Live. This is ECHE Music TV, where we provide tips, tools, techniques, and resources to help you grow your ministry. I'm your host, Simone Henry, a music business consultant, speaker, and concert promoter. I do what I do because I believe gifted, anointed Christian artists should not be broke. Let's get started. I'll just say welcome, Robert. Thanks for being on ECHE Music.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have I played any of your music? I don't think I played any of your music. You've got to send me some songs.
I will. I definitely will.
Yeah.
I definitely will.
Absolutely. So I heard you talk at the DMV Alliance meeting. It's a long name. DMV Gospel Alliance of Gospel Music Professionals. Alliance of Gospel Music Professionals.
Okay. Alliance of Gospel Music Professionals.
Yeah, so that's what we are now. We're gospel music professionals.
Exactly. Something. Who knew?
Yeah, so they gave us a new name.
Right, amen.
So we, and you gave a presentation on imaging and branding. Yes. And so I wanted you to come on to ECHE Music TV and talk to my folks about that.
My pleasure.
Right, so let's jump right in. So the first part, you wanted to talk about image and...
Yeah, so basically, how does image affect your artistry? How does image affect your ministry and career as an artist? And one of the things I talked about at the meeting was, of course, image. You know, it's how we look, it's our photos, in many cases, it's what goes before us. People see us first, sometimes online or in print before they meet the person. So image is all about how you look, how you present yourself. And we want to make sure that those things tie into who we are as artists, as well as ministers of the gospel, which makes us a little above the rest.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, as Christians and in the gospel music industry, yeah, I feel like we are kind of held to a higher standard.
We definitely are.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I talked about in the discussion, was talking about, you know, the things that we cannot do because gospel artists in particular, you know, there are things that secular artists can do and get away with that we can't do. And that all of that is a part of imaging, you know, how you look on Facebook, how you sound on Facebook. Or on social media, that is. All of those things come to play. But for today's discussion, we want to, I guess, start off with our presentation. You know, how we look, photos. Definitely should have professional photos. Now, you know, our phones are pretty good, so you can, you know, get away with a nice, clean photo taken on your iPhone or your Android. But I
still hear a professional photographer say that.
I was ready to say, but I would still highly suggest that you have professional photos taken. It's nothing like it.
Right.
And in this marketplace, and I'm talking now from a commercial perspective, compete. You have to be just as good as the other.
Right.
One of the things that I do personally is, you know, I have a few people who I've admired and I've kind of, I won't say patterned my life after, but there's certain artists who have a certain look. You know, like how does my CD look?
Right.
That particular artist, you know, a mainstream artist, secular and gospel. Because, you know, the marketplace is just that, it's the marketplace.
Right.
So have a good image that will compete.
Right. So so when you say marketplace, we all have to keep in mind that even though we're in ministry and we're in ministry and we're here to spread the word that God gave us to minister to the people that we meet, and the people who hear our music, we are still in the marketplace, which means we have to compete, we have to sell, we have to market ourselves, and, you know, and so within all of that, we have to operate in the world in which we live, in which we're operating right now. So I have seen some gospel music professionals look at a CD and look at the cover and then toss it away because
totally dismiss it.
you're right.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm thinking, you know, this is when I was like very green and very new, and I didn't know anything. I'm thinking, come on, let's listen to the music.
It's just like that. It's like in the world, it's like that package with the biggest red bow.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's that we're in the holiday season now.
Right.
About the Christmas tree and the package is under the tree. Oh, I want that one. The one with
Right.
the bow, the gold wrap, you know.
Right.
The same with whatever it is that we're presenting. You know, it has to have a certain image and a certain look.
Right.
And you talked about image and branding. And from a branding perspective, you have to have a consistent look and something that people will trust. You know, it's the same thing. It's always a clean look. It's all, you know, and women have a little more difficulty than men because of hairstyles and makeup. So, you know, day one you're this way, day two you're that way. So it's more difficult for women.
Yeah, it's harder to stay consistent. You want to change your look constantly.
Especially when you're talking about the marketplace and being an artist, you want to be consistent. And I think who comes to mind immediately is Anita Wilson. You know, she's always, you know, that look that she has. It's always very consistent for the last I don't know how many years. And that's not to mean boring. It's just consistent. You know who she is.
Right.
She always looks good. And just, you know, her trademark I guess metric type style, hairstyle.
Right. It's very recognizable.
Very recognizable, and you know who she is.
Yeah.
And that's how you build trust as it relates to your brand. And your
okay. So with that being said, talk to me about your branding, your look. How do you choose your look? You know, the photos that you have on your CD cover, what you wear on stage. You know, tell us about that.
So I try to be consistent. I try to show up the same way I look on my advertisements. And like I said, for men, it's a little easier than women. You know, my haircut is pretty much always the same. I'm rocking a part. I'm actually supposed to go to the barber shop today. The part's not quite as fresh, but no, I have a part in my hair. I'm pretty much the same. My beard is pretty much the same every time. I don't change too much. Now, I will say there are few people who I really like and trust in industry. And one is B. Winans, of course, Luther Vandross, who is now has departed. But, you know, just looking at people at their artwork, you know, I'm like, I like this look, you know. And that we all admire in the industry. So to kind of look at what they're doing and kind of pattern yourself after them.
So you choose somebody whose style is similar to like what you want to emulate, or whose music is similar to yours.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us, for those who don't know, like, what does your music sound like?
Classic.
Okay.
I try to give a classic sound. And for me, classic means live instrumentation. It means strings, piano. As much live as possible, as much live as affordable. You always afford, you know, orchestra.
Right.
I think I have a pretty much of a classic sound. And I try to, in terms of imaging and branding, I try to also look like I sound.
Okay.
So I'm not urban. I'm definitely not hip hop.
Right.
I try to show up the same way I sound.
Right.
Also helps build the trust. It also helps build the branding and the imaging.
How does what you wear and fit in with your music, what that sounds like, and then how that informs your branding?
People talk about my attire all the time. I almost always have a blazer on. Even when I'm dressing down, even if I have on fatigues, camouflage pants or jeans. A lot of times I kind of dress it up just a little bit, and that helps. Even when I'm relaxed, it helps keep somewhat of the classic look, which is, you know, as I said earlier, kind of like my sound, the classic sound.
Yeah.
So even when I'm relaxed, I'm still up. And then I'm, you know, I'm old school. I'm almost 50. So, you know, when I go to church, I just, even when I'm relaxed, I still need to, you know.
Yeah, you still need to kind of dress it up a little bit.
Especially when I know I am in ministry that particular day or in performance. You know, I try to make sure I have a consistent look. Like I said, even when it's relaxed, I try to dress it up just a little bit with maybe a collared shirt and some jeans, or a jacket and some jeans. And that builds the consistency as it relates to my brand, if you will, or image.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds to me like, yeah, the biggest part about branding is that consistency.
Yeah.
There's this artist that I like from North Carolina. Part of her brand, and you know, and her look is her hair. She wears a very large fro.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I think at one point she had to cut it.
Yeah, she
and
did.
It just kind of, it was like, how am I going to pick the crowd now? You know,
right.
Automatically. Right. You know, but that was a big part of her brand, and it went with her style of music.
It definitely did. Yeah.
Press. You know, I think her sound was kind of like a neo soul, you know, kind of sound. I do remember going to a showcase once where a woman, she was an older lady, walked to the front, and from the way she looked, I was expecting a particular sound.
Right.
And then when the music started and then she started singing, something completely different came out of her mouth.
It confused you.
Yeah, it was very confusing. So her branding was off, was quite, you know, quite a bit off. And so that's, you know, that's a huge, it really is a huge part of like your image and your, how you, like you said, how you show up, you know.
People see you first.
Yes.
And, you know, I don't care if it's ministry or if it's a secular engagement or what. People have a perception, you know, when you walk up, it's like, okay. And they've already kind of figured you out before you even open your mouth.
Right. You know, and I feel like
something different, like what you said, then it's like, oh, I'm confused. What's going on?
Yes, and now you're confusing people.
Right.
There's this company called Story Brand, and they talk about, if you confuse, you'll lose. You know, you don't want to confuse people. You want to have a consistent message and consistent look and consistent, you know, just showing up a consistent way. So yeah, that's really, really awesome. So can you give us any other tips about branding that?
I do want to talk about this because just because of where we are in the world as it relates to social media. That is, what's the visual representation of your ministry?
Okay.
Of course, you know, it's still imaging and branding, but now social media, we have to be so careful. And this is regardless of the genre. Very careful as to how you're represented on social media.
Yeah.
And you never know. We learned this growing up, you know, always be on your best behavior.
Yeah.
Now it's, you never know who's watching.
Right.
Another colleague in the industry always says there's more of them than there are of you. And in other words, people are always watching. So you have to be very careful as it relates to your image and your brand on social media. And in this case, I'm specifically referring to Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. A lot of times we, especially those of us in ministry, have to be very careful of how we interact. I'm trying to choose my words carefully. Sometimes, to make it plain and simple, sometimes we're not nice.
Right.
Sometimes we are judgmental and mean. We have attitudes. We're rude. We're busy. Sometimes we're bullies. You know, you just have to be very careful as to how you show up, which is, you know, back to branding and imaging. How you show up on social media, especially as it relates to other people's mistakes in performance, because we're going to all have that turn.
Right.
It's not going to always be right. You're going to miss a note. You're going to fall flat. fall. All these things happen because they're natural. But we have to be very careful, especially as it relates to gospel artists, how we react to bad performances.
Right. That's true. I think that's another standard that we're held to. Christian people are expected to be generous, nice, kind, merciful. If somebody's falling, we shouldn't be the first people to laugh at them. We should be the first people to go and help them up.
I do have this one tip I want to read as it relates to social media. Folks want to work with people that they can trust. You can be bad and tough in other genres, but not in gospel.
Not in gospel.
Your behavior in other genres don't discredit you, but it does in gospel. Because we are faith-based artists, there are certain behavioral expectations associated with our brand and our image. I just wanted to read that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I so appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
Knowledge and I wanted to definitely have you on because, you were able to speak about image and branding, especially because you're very consistent and you can show how it works in your own ministry and in your own life. So thank you.
I just want to encourage folks, we have to be students, of what it is that we want to do. And you have to, sometimes study and look like what you want to be. And that's, write the vision and make it plain. What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? And own it and do it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Robert Person, for being on the show today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
average day of the week. Suit and tie, feeling regal, but the teacher life is meek. Text blow up my phone, so I take a peek. Dion pants, oh man, R.I.P. I hit the road runner, beat. Car behind me tripping, I speed off up the street. Red light, they pull up, now they throwing the birds. So I hop out the whip, shouting 4-letter words. Hop in, get to the crib, in the car, checking Twitter. I hear, let me see your hands, it's the cop's finger on the trigger. I'm not moving fast enough, anger growing bigger, reach for anything and I shoot the words of a killer. What happened on the road? You point guns at people, you fit a description, we'll take you down if we need to. They searched the whip cup, then they broke me 2 hours later, let me free. But see, I tell that story not to tell it with pride. Too many innocent lives, hashtag online. Sandra, Freddie, Walter, Scott, and Philando, Oscar, Kendra James, Amadou Diallo, Mike Brown, Samuel DeBose, Eric Garner, a key, or why they have to harm you. And they murderers giving immunity, desk jobs and sympathy for destroying communities. It's like we living in the days of old. Our current law enforcement steering from slave patrols. Some put them on the bed, but the way it goes, black and brown, and you suspect and they lose control. Terrorists in our nation is defined as Muslim, but the real terrorists label us as hoodlums. Thank you God when the police leave you alone. Man, forget that, you ain't did nothing wrong. Let my people live. Let us live, y'all.